When it comes to setting amp simulators, building a patch backwards, around an impulse response, comes down to hide upstream problems which cannot be properly assessed this way. Just as a normal rig, a great gain structure is always built around your guitar. This tutorial will detail how to develop a patch in the right direction. So the first step is to analyze and balance your raw guitar tone. It's important to study its characteristics to equalize them and feed your amplifier with a more balanced input signal, since it wasn't designed with your personal instrument in mind. This affects the sweet spot of an amplifier and how close you can get to it. It's pretty simple. You need a great guitar tone to build a great gain structure. In the same way, the next move is to listen and balance your raw amplifier tone. This is the only way to learn everything about its gain structure and how it responds to your guitar. Let's listen to my settings. If I tweaked it through a random impulse response, I could end up with very unpleasant settings. And whereas the IR can hide such flaws at first sight, post-equalizing its asperities to sit better in a mix will only reveal the poor gain structure and create an unsolvable situation. Now that your amplifier settings sound great, it's much easier to make a proper impulse response. Because they are such one-trick ponies, IRs need to match perfectly a gain structure, exciting the right frequencies, to minimize the problems which ensue from their static nature. Weak single notes, fizzy air, lack of clarity, growl, distance and dimension. So I urge you to make your own IRs based on your settings, whether by tone matching someone's cab or capturing yours. Avoid the sine sweep method to capture a cab. I strongly recommend to use a tone match plug-in to capture the difference between your raw amplifier and the mic'd source, then apply it to a neutral IR. I think it works better than other methods because it captures how the cab and room react to the gain structure. Keep in mind that the more the tone relies on reverb to sound good, the harder it is to turn it into a credible IR. Don't hesitate to tone match over the tone match to add a few more details to the IR. Exaggerating those details bring a bit more growl and pseudo-reverb. Make sure to use the right phase mode or the result will sound like a half-wet IR. Now it's time to add what an impulse response doesn't capture. Keep the reverb short and set the early level according to the mix level, size and the EQ page. A proper reverb sits better in a mix than stereo spreading effects. You can also add a tape distortion in front of the reverb, drive at 5 or above, mix below 50%, it will open the sound a bit, though it is much less effective when the IR suits the amplifier very well. Be careful as it brings some fizz around 9.3 kHz. Another way to thicken high frequencies is to use the drive of a Dimension 1 chorus as an exciter. Depth at 0, then play with the mix level, drive and high cut. Finally, the new Optical 2 compressor works very well at the end of the chain. Last but not least, you can make use of the pitch modifiers to cut a bit of air and add a few fractions of decibels progressively as you play higher notes. Or even a bit of gain and bass if you need, which helps to uniformize the sound and fight the static nature of the impulse response. That's pretty much it. Have fun and see you later.